Hello, Callum Gordon. I'm here at Lions in Place in Nambour. So the month of May is Domestic Violence Month, and I'm here with Deb Blakeney from Lions in Place to talk about what is domestic violence and how the community can help. Thanks for joining us today, Deb.
Thank you, Cal.
Now, Deb, tell us a little bit about what family and domestic violence is and what it actually means.
Sure. So obviously domestic and family violence is a very complicated issue. It is a public issue. It's not a private one. It's something that affects individuals, it affects communities, families, work colleagues. It affects all of us really. So in some ways we're all connected to that issue. Domestic and family violence really encompasses a whole range of behaviours and patterns of power and control that occur over periods of time and quite systematic in that perpetration, and using a range of tactics to enforce that power and control, leaving the victim of the violence and the survivor of the violence often walking on eggshells, within that relationship. So always on the edge, and never quite sure what's going to happen next in that cycle of violence. And we know that ultimately, for some people, that means that it's death, that people actually die from domestic and family violence and that pattern of power and control over time. And we do see, escalations in those behaviours over time. So behaviours can include physical violence, hitting, punching, kicking, things like that. It can include sexual violence, emotional violence, spiritual and cultural abuse, stalking, harassment. As you can see, quite a large, encompassing range of behaviours. Use of children is also a big one in terms of using power and control, using children as mechanisms of that control. And children are often the silent victims of the domestic and family violence, and the impact on children and their safety is quite significant.
And I guess traditionally we used to look at domestic violence between a man and a woman. That's obviously changed now. Can you tell us a little bit about how that affects all types of relationships in the community?
Yeah, so it's not only obviously people who are married or who reside together under one roof, and it's certainly not just heterosexual relationships between a man and a woman. Domestic and family violence encompasses a whole range of relationships that utilise power and control within those relationships, and the cycle of violence that occurs. So it's very important that we just don't think about domestic and family violence occurring for example, in a married or intimate relationship between a man and a woman. It can also include, for example, family relationships or informal care relationships. It can involve homosexual relationships. It's the spectrum.
And the month of May is Domestic Violence Month. What can people in the community do to get involved with Lions in Place or to help those who have been affected by domestic violence, Deb?
So obviously, because domestic and family violence affects everyone and everyone's connected to the issue, there is a way that everyone can participate in addressing the issue. One way, obviously, is to become educated about domestic and family violence and knowing about the range of behaviours, knowing about its impact, not just on the individual but on the community, and how you are connected to the issue. So, if people understand that and know that, they probably feel more inclined to take action. I think the other way is you can be involved in awareness raising. Under the Purple Sky event is one way that people can participate by not only raising awareness but coming together as a community in a spirit of thinking about addressing domestic and family violence and preventing it in this community, keeping people safe. People can also volunteer their time to services like Lions in Place, or donate money to continue on the services that we offer. And those services can offer, they range from case management, professional supports, down to practical supports like shampoos, conditioners and underwear for people who have had to escape with absolutely nothing. So people can participate in a whole range of ways.
And it's been quite heartbreaking just listening and sitting here and listening to you talk about how people walk on eggshells in their own homes. And I think it's quite wonderful seeing the community come together for Under the Purple Sky. We've had a few people of key influence. We've had Cindy Vogels, we've had Tam Wrigley from the 1 o'clock show, we've had Sam Coward from Hot 91. I think it's just great that we're seeing this community come together to stand up and say, no, this isn't okay, we're going to make a difference. So people can still definitely get involved with the Purple Sky event, can't they?
Absolutely, and we've been very overwhelmed with that support, and people from all walks of life coming together to say no to violence, that they've had enough, that they want to see something different in terms of more safety in our communities. And, you know, it's always heartening for a service like ours to know that other people are walking beside us.